Let's get into our season previews. We're starting with the Las Vegas Raiders. This team made the playoffs last year, and I talked about it yesterday when we talked to Cowboys. If you missed that episode, go check that out. But people were down on the Cowboys, surprisingly, and it caught me off guard. Same thing is what's going on with the Raiders. A lot of people are down on the Raiders, and maybe it's not necessarily that they're down on the Raiders themselves, but high on everyone else in this division. The Raiders obviously brought in Davante Adams, now connecting with his former college quarterback in Derek Carr. AJ, what is the one thing that can hold back this offense?
So I feel like I'm going to start sounding like a broken record here. But much like I had the issue with the Dallas Cowboys, for me, it's this offensive line. We can talk about all the wonderful weapons that they brought in. We can talk about the run game that Josh Jacobs is going to get to run into the ground. Davante Adams is there now for receiving. Hunter Renfrow looks great. Maybe Darren Waller gets back to full form this season. But like I just said with the Jets as well, if your offensive line isn't together, it's not going to work out for you. Aaron's favorite website, PFF, has them ranked as 29th going into the season. And a lot of the questions come from another one of your favorite people, Alex Leatherwood, who allowed the most pressures last year in the NFL at 67 pressures. Now, they're saying he looks a little bit better. He's starting to get a hold of things. But as you looked at the Hall of Fame game, and I get it, that was pre-week 1, week 0, if you will. So everything wasn't up there. But that line allowed 2 sacks in that game. Who's to say that that's not a norm? Who's to say we're not seeing an average of 2 sacks every single week at the very least? So I think this line has to kind of get meshed together. That right side definitely needs a little bit of help, and you have to pray that guys like Colton Miller doesn't get hurt, and maybe Dylan Parham will step up even sooner and come help this line out, because I think he's a scary good prospect that can learn this game pretty quickly and be a force on that line. So this line has to get it together a little bit, and then they should be the Raiders that we all think they have the potential to be.
5 sacks. Jaguars had 5 sacks, and that's what it is. Me agreeing and stressing your point that even though it was preseason, Jaguars still had 5 sacks on a Raiders team where it's just like a team that's still growing and they're getting their new pass rushers involved and getting them going. Like 5 sacks against the Raiders, 5 sacks led up for the Raiders in that preseason week 1 game. And I 100% agree that is going to be the thing that's going to hold them back. You look at the teams in the AFC West too, with the pass rushers that the Chargers and the Broncos have. Like, they're going to be making it hard for Derek Carr.
To clarify, and this was just my mistake. Because I didn't say it. I was specifically speaking about the Alex Leatherwood and their backups area. On that side, the pressures allowed and the sacks allowed were 2. So that was my fault. I did not make that part of it clear. But that was where the 2 sack number came from. I don't want to keep week to week, y'all like, AJ don't never got the right damn information. So let me just clarify that.
So 2 things. I agree. I think the weak spot is the offensive line. Obviously, the weapons on the Raiders, there's no argument there. They got a Davante Adams now, Darren Waller, Josh Jacobs, all that. Last year, they were middle of the pack in sacks given up. They only gave up 40 sacks last year, which could be, I guess, it's outside the top 10. But well, I mean, again, the top team gave up 58. Like the Bears gave up 58. So they were a little bit they were below average, right? They were below average in giving up sacks. But the biggest difference for me in that offensive line is that run game, right? You have to be able to run the football now with the Josh Jacobs. And they did not do a good job of that last year. Although Josh Jacobs had a good fantasy productive season, they were 5th worst in rush yards, total rush yards last year. So that's a big deal to me. I think that's where we have to start looking at this offensive line. Are they going to be able to create a push to get holes for Josh Jacobs and Zamir White and these guys to run through that will allow a Derek Carr to get some play action game, find Darren Waller and Davante Adams. So you're right. It's the offensive line, and it's going to be about guys like an Alex Leatherwood and players like that. I am interested to see where if Dylan Parham can come in and make an impact somewhere on that offensive line. They got a lot of moving parts there that I think there might be some guys that are replaced before we get to the end of the season. I don't think Josh McDaniels is going to have too much patience there. The right side is really a big question mark for me I was never a fan of the first-round pick of Alex Leatherwood, and he hasn't shown to live up to that first-round pick as of yet. But the offensive line is definitely going to be the biggest question mark for the Las Vegas Raiders.
And it's not even like it was with Dallas where we were like, they're talented. It's just you had to pick a spot. Like, this is something where I don't think it's like the Achilles heel, so to speak, but it's close. You know, if they don't get it it's one of those things like where if you don't get it together quick enough, like it may never get there throughout the season. And that's what becomes a problem. You can't always run to the left. You can't always get just behind Colton Miller and be like, help me. So that is the Josh McDaniels part of that was another part to bring up because we understand what he wants to do with that scheme, and the offensive line is a huge part of that, as it is with just about every offense.
Yeah. On the defensive side of the ball, they are now on their third defensive coordinator in 3 years. Patrick Graham takes over the reins in Las Vegas, and in our training camp preview show, we had a little soundbite from him, and I from there started really liking what this guy brings to the table, at least in terms of an attitude. But what does he bring, and what will be the noticeable changes under Patrick Graham with this new defense, Aaron?
Yeah, I think most people know him to be more of a 3-4 guy, but the Raiders personnel really just doesn't allow that to happen. So what I'm actually most interested in looking for is he going to have guys like Chandler Jones and Max Crosby standing up or hand in the dirt. He's more known for having those outside guys up, being versatile, being able to drop back in coverage, but that's not really Crosby's game, and that's not really Chandler Jones's game. Not saying they can't do it, but it's not what they're the best at, right? We want them getting after the passer. So I think a lot of what he's trying to bring to this Raiders defense is just multiplicity, right? Being able to do different things. And I think with guys like Chandler Jones and Max Crosby, you can do those things, but it's going to have to be moving them around on the front, finding creative ways to get them to the quarterback. And then when you put on his nickel package in the field, he uses those outside linebackers to stand up. So is he going to move one of those guys inside, bring an extra linebacker on the field to do things like that? You wonder. So he likes to run a lot of zone coverage. He prefers to run zone on early downs and then play man coverage late. I talked about that in the training camp preview. I don't think that changes. I think there's going to be a lot of blitzes on 3rd and 4th downs to get pressures, but he might not have to do it on early downs much because he does have those excellent pass rushes on the outside where they can sit back in that cover 3, that cover 6, and just cover more space on the field. Give quarterbacks less windows to throw to or smaller windows to throw to, and be able to allow those guys on the edge to get to the quarterback and make plays.
So you say one of those edge rushers are probably the biggest benefactor from this new system of Patrick Graham, or is there a specific player that you think really just is going to thrive under this new system?
I think honestly, with the joint efforts of a Patrick Graham and the addition of a Chandler Jones, that back end, which wasn't very good over the past couple of seasons, is really what's going to benefit because it allows them to sit in coverage, to play more zone, and not have to worry about covering man-to-man guys for long periods of time because you have elite pass rushers that can get to the quarterback. And we've talked about this. When you have 2 pass rushers, can't double everybody. Right. So if you double Crosby, Chandler Jones is likely to be in one-on-one coverage or maybe have a back just chipping out of the backfield, which takes an option out of the passing game and allows your secondary to focus on the 3 or 4 wide receivers that are on the outside. So I think in joint effort, it's going to be the back end of that Raiders defense, which has needed some help. That's the biggest beneficiary of this kind of move to Patrick Graham.
I love Patrick Graham, so I'm happy. I'm happy for him.
Chandler Jones in one-on-one coverage. That's not smart.
Yeah. Well, you don't want Max Crosby in one-on-one either. You see what he does. The unlimited.
Like he got some issues.
Yeah, good luck if you're those offenses. Like it's going to be tough.
Yeah, we talked about the fact that the Raiders had the offensive line issues with all the pass rush that's going to be in the AFC West. Well, the Raiders themselves create issues for bad offensive lines for the other teams in the AFC West as well, with Max Crosby and now the addition of Chandler Jones.
Support for Sack City is brought to you by Manscaped.com. The products are precision engineered, tools for your family, jewels. The Performance Package, Ultimate Men's Hygiene Bundle, so you can join over 6 million worldwide who trust Manscaped. We have an exclusive offer, 20% off, free worldwide shipping if you just type in the code SACCITY at checkout. And if my math is correct, that's about 12 million balls, Vinny and AJ.
That's so many balls! That's so many balls!
And the Performance Package 4.0 is a game changer. Inside the pack, you get the Lawnmower 4.0. You get the Weed Whacker nose and hair trimmer. You get your little deodorant, foot deodorant. You get your little what is it? What do they call it, Vinny? The crop preserver ball deodorant. So your balls smell fresh. You get ball toner. And again, this is Manscaped. You get a pair of boxer briefs to boot. So go and get 20% off and free shipping with the code SACCITY at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com.
Let's take a look at their schedule. And AJ, what do you think is the defining part of this Raiders schedule?
I honestly kind of struggle with this because I'm looking at it, and everywhere I think there's a pocket that I need them to focus on, then there's a stinker of a team. Like, I want to start at week 4, and it's like, yeah, that's about to get tough. But then they get a bye, and not only do they get a bye, they get to come off that bye to what we presume is not a great Houston team. Then you got New Orleans. So I wanted to start there and think about it, but then we got your Jacksonville Jaguars. But going from that point on, the Colts are going to matter. Denver's going to matter. But then you got Seattle. So really what it comes down to for me is this is just a team that has to show consistency. But at the same time, it kind of looks a lot like what they dealt with last season. They started their season off 3 wins, then they had 2 losses. Then they had 2 wins, then they had 3 losses. Then they finished the season on a 5-game win streak. You just want to see that consistency from them where you're not just getting these pockets where everything turned around. And, of course, there's the asterisk of all the BS they dealt with last year. I understand that. But they overcame that very well. They overcame that adversity. It's a new genre. It's a new regime. They seem like they are pointed in the right direction. If that consistency can happen, and if they don't have 4 overtime games, I think you're looking at a pretty solid Las Vegas Raiders team.
Did you just say a new genre?
Yes, that's why I immediately changed it and said regime. I was like, that's the right word I was looking for.
I was like, I've never heard. I was like, it could work. It could work. And I was like, did he say genre? I got that. I was like, wait, what?
I don't know what that genre stuff was.
I watch a lot of movies. I listen to a lot of music.
It's all new genre, maybe. It's all new genre in Vegas.
I think very similar to what AJ said. I don't really think there's a point in the schedule that we can point and say what's the most important. But one thing I will say, I think this whole year matters. The only thing that matters this year for the Raiders is what does the division play look like? They can't go 2-4 in the division. They can't go 1-5 in the division. Can't go 0-6 in the division. Last year they went 3-3. It's okay to go 3-3 in your division. Win a game from each of those teams, and you're okay. You'll be sitting pretty there if you can split your division. I think that's the most important. If I'm the Raiders, I'm circling week 1. I'm circling week 4. Circling week 5. I'm going all the way down to week 18 to week 12, whatever it is, 13, and then week 11 to those division games. And I think that's the most important thing for the Raiders schedule this week. And exactly leading into that schedule, what I'm looking forward to most is how does Josh McDaniels incorporate Davante Adams in this offense? Is it going to be a focus on Davante Adams to be able to come in and play and just play like he played in Green Bay? Know that he's getting the number of targets. Know that he's getting the ball. Open it up a little bit more and focus on him, which might allow a Darren Waller and a Hunter Renfrow to be more free in certain things. But Derek Carr threw the ball 600 times last year, and it didn't really result in a whole lot of statistical numbers that were very big. And I think this year we might see a shift in the Derek Carr numbers if they go away from the run game. And again, it could happen. I don't know that I see it because I know Josh McDaniels wants to start with the run game, but AJ pointed this out a few weeks ago that you might get more looks in the red zone for a Davante Adams, or you might get more looks in the red zone for a Darren Waller. I'm really watching out for how they use Davante Adams in this offense, and are they going to do things similar to what Green Bay did, which just means get the ball in his hands and let that man go to work? Or is it going to be like, hey, continue what we do, we throw to the open guy? I'm not a fan of that. I got a dude, get the ball to the dude. And I'm wondering if Josh McDaniels, who never really came from a system like that, never had a guy like that. I'm wondering if he's gonna incorporate that into this Raiders playbook.
I know we're moving quick, but just to add on to that, I have a feeling like over the past couple of years, people have been looking at Derek Carr, ready to see him unleashed. And I think Josh McDaniels knows that. I understand the run game is important for Josh McDaniels, but I think he also knows Derek Carr can be a dude. And now he's got his best friend. He's got his dude. I wouldn't be surprised if they're taking shots way more than we were expecting to, because that trust factor is there from Josh McDaniels to Derek Carr, from Derek Carr to Davante Adams. So that's something that I'm watching for, to see if those numbers, I think that could happen with Derek Carr, actually come to fruition with the touchdowns and the extra yardage and so on and so forth.
Sure.
I have a stupid question. I'm gonna ask it.
You're gonna add it to the list of stupid questions, like the ones you asked me if that penalty in the preseason game mattered.
Other than Randy Moss with Josh McDaniels, Davante Adams has to be the best wide receiver he's ever coached, right?
It's tough. I mean, who do you have in Denver the first go round?
I don't know which one.
I mean,
Demarius and them.
Was Demarius with him when he was there?
Pretty sure, yeah, because he had Tebow, right?
Yeah.
So, that would be the next. And honestly, RIP, all respect, Demarius would be third in my opinion.
See, this is why I asked. I thought about. I'm like looking at the list and it really doesn't matter, and I guess in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter the question. But I just thought about. I'm like, man, this might be the best collection of weapons that Josh McDaniels has ever had at his arsenal. Because I mean, look at Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs might be one of the best running backs he's ever had. And then Darren Waller is not Rob Gronkowski, but he's a damn good tight end. Then you throw in Davante Adams, is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL, and arguably one of the best wide receivers Josh McDaniels has ever coached. Like, this might be the best group of weapons Josh McDaniels has had in his entire career.
You know what? So you asked a stupid question. I'll give you somewhat of a stupid answer. Well, I may look at it as Josh McDaniels looks like he has his New England Patriots slot guy in a Hunter Renfrow and is going to be able to work with that. But, oh, look, on the best side of things, not only do I have that, how I know how to exploit, I also have the best damn receiver in the NFL. So now I have the embarrassment of riches that I think I should. So that could also be it. We may not need to sleep on a Hunter Renfrow, not that he's going to lead the team, but you get what I'm saying.
To be fair, I had to look this up because I was pretty positive. He also did coach Brandon Marshall. That's who I was referring to.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to say
really
that
yeah.
Right now it's a hard debate to tell me that Davante Adams was a better overall player. Like right now, if they ended today, Brandon Marshall was a dog, man. And that dude could play some football. He did get to coach him. So it's close. So like to your point though, the fact of the matter is he doesn't have a plethora of these type of weapons on his resume. His resume, not his regime.
Genre.
I know. No, I did that because I mix those up all the time. Regimen and like regime and resume. So he doesn't have a huge list of guys like that. Obviously, the Randy Mosses, obviously the Brandon Marshalls, and now the Davante Adams adding to that is going to be big for him.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, just want to go off on that tangent there.
It worked out.
Let's go over to the Raiders odds here. And if you guys are new to the show and new to this game here, we give you the locked and loaded Sack City bets here. Aaron is shaking his head behind this graphic here for something. Did I mess something up?
Easy.
This is stupid.
I am like wondering. Okay, so you guys are all on board of this too. Seeing that, and this is the Vegas. You can look it up. Google it. Google it right now. Vegas Insider posts this. The 2022-2023 NFL win total odds. The Las Vegas Raiders are at 8.5 wins. And this is why I said at the beginning of all of this that people are either down on the Raiders or that high on everybody else that they're playing against. 8.5 wins is their total right now.
And that's current, huh?
Current, right now.
So I'll say this. I do know that back when we did the schedule previews, I had them at 9-8 at that point in time, and I know, like, while I firmly believe the lock is at 8-5, we do always discuss how tough this division is, and for whatever reason, well, mostly because it's been that way for the last ever long I can remember, the Raiders have been the little brothers, or looked at as the little brothers in this division. I know the Chargers were there too, but not many people have a lot of faith in the Raiders. You go back to last year, and they were all like, play for the tie because that's your best bet to do it, so on and so forth. So I think that might be where that comes from. But when you first look at it, you're just like, come on, like, no,
disrespectful.
Way.
It's disrespectful.
it feels that way. I'm definitely taking over 8.5 wins. Yeah, like give me that lock.
Okay, stop. I can't take this anymore. That's what you guys are talking about? Man, disrespectful again to Josh Jacobs. 749 yards.
That was the
Are
other
you
thing.
kidding me?
That's easy. I was talking about all of them, really.
No,
I just took the wins.
I agree, AJ, because I think all of these are laughable. But 749 yards for Josh Jacobs. Now, where do they get these numbers when a dude's never been below 890? And that was in a, quote, bad year last year. Like, again, this is the whole Zeke argument with me. This is stupid, and I get over-unders. I've bet before. I understand that they're set at a certain number for a reason because they do account for things like injury and all these things. The fact of the matter is it's disrespectful to Josh Jacobs to throw that number on the screen of 749 yards in 17 games.
I look at when I'm doing this, when I'm making the graphics and trying to find the bets to put in here, I question on this one specifically, the Raiders ones. I question if my information was right.
There's a lot of haters out there, Vinny, for the Raiders. Yeah. Like they do think they're going to fall off a little bit.
This is Caesar Sportsbook has it at under 749.5 yards, and DraftKings also has it at over under 750.5 yards. So it's like
it's just
that's rushing yard. It is. It is. So what you guys are saying, are all three of these just downright locks? Just like take your money, go to the casinos, put this in, and you're gonna be happy at the end of the season?
It's easy to the hardest one is the Davante Adams at 1,200, but I still think that's a lock. But I mean, 1,200 is a number, man. Like if anyone could wake up and get 1,200, no, it would be Davante Adams. So you look at that number and you're still like, yeah, let's do that. But the other two, without question, in my mind,
to be fair, they're both they're all minus money. So the odds are saying that they're likely to go over those numbers. That's why you have to pay a little bit more in order to win that amount or whatever. But still, I just don't like the line set there. I think all three hit over. Lock them all in, baby.
Lock them all in. Bet your money on the Raiders. Let's go win some money.
Bet on black, baby.
Yeah, there you go. All right, let's get into the record predictions here. AJ, you brought up that you had 9-8 predicted during our off-season predictions. Aaron, you had 10-7. I had 11-6.
You ain't gonna tell me my record's right here, baby.
Hey, I got the records right here because I still have it in my.
I
have my organized computer, But all right, so AJ, you were the one who originally brought up your record first, though, at 9-8. Are you moving or staying?
Slightly. I did not know Aaron had it at 10-7, but it wouldn't matter because how I feel is how I feel. I did give them one more win. I've moved them up to 10. I know you were going to ask me where that other win is. Insert trash team here or insert upset over the Rams here or something of that nature. But I think their weapons and the chemistry and the way they've kind of come along as I've watched over the camp, at least one more win. Again, this is a really, really tough division, so it's kind of hard to go too much more than that for me.
Yeah, you guys got mad at me when I unveiled my my AFC West records because I had all of those teams at 12-5, 11-6, 12-5, 11-6. That was how I had my AFC West unfolded.
I just said we weren't blasting. It's just for all four to get to 11 wins is going to be extremely hard to do. Like that's going to be insane if it does happen. That would be unprecedented, but not far off. I had all of them winning 10 games. So I had a 3-way tie behind the Chiefs at 12 wins. I had the Raiders, Broncos, and Chargers all at 10 wins, tiebreakers making the playoffs. And I have Vegas still at 10-7. The biggest thing for me is I think they're going to win some games they shouldn't. I think they're going to lose some games they shouldn't. I have them losing to the Texans and still winning 10 games. So
I have them losing that Jacksonville game. Not to be a homer. I know, just take this hat off here. But
do they play Atlanta? Because they're going to lose that game if they play Atlanta.
Just traveling from Vegas to Jacksonville after a game against the Saints.
Maybe they're traveling from New Orleans to Jacksonville. That ain't that bad.
Well, I don't know. I don't know how travel works. I'm not a travel
usually
guy
if you
for the
go
NFL.
back-to-back road games, sometimes you'll stay in
Oh,
the city
especially on
you're
the
in,
same
and then
coast.
you'll just travel
Yeah.
from New Orleans, or you'll travel early to Jacksonville and be there.
Well, I'll go from 11-6, and I'll give them 12-5 now. Merry Christmas, Las Vegas Raiders.
Real talk. 10-7. I'm 11. I'm staying the same, so I'm not changing.
Yeah. All righty. Well, let's unveil where they land on our preseason power rankings. I'll do the unveiling here, Aaron, unless you remember where we put them.
You didn't tell me. You didn't,
I know. That's why I was like,
you never gave me an official word.
Remember what you never knew?
That's what I did. So you'll see also on here, we did preview the Denver Broncos already. So they're also going to be on this list because they're in the same area. The Las Vegas Raiders come in at number 12 on our list, just ahead of the Denver Broncos. This AFC West is so tight that this I feel like is the best situation right now, is to put these two teams who have some new faces to change the direction of their teams. I think it's fair. I think it's very fair to have the Las Vegas Raiders at 12. Raiders fans, if you don't like it, let us know in the comments what you think. And that does it though for our Raiders season preview.